I drew another dragon. So, we are going to be talking about it today, and yes, this dragon is in the same universe as the previous one. If you haven't watched that one, I recommend watching it after this video. The order doesn't matter. This dragon is very different from the last dragon because it is a wild dragon. It does not have a supposed rider. But what's interesting about this dragon is that it has the abilities of both moths and butterflies. I will talk about those abilities and what they do. I will also show visuals because I can. But I will do that after the time lapse finishes up since it's not that long. Let's get into it. I did not end with the colors I started with, but I think that they changed for the better. I had a hard time deciding what the head was going to look like as you watch me struggle multiple times. I actually kind of had a hard time with the wings and tail too. Now that I think about it, I eventually figured it out, and thank goodness too, because I was high-key tweaking when I was drawing it, not gonna lie. I'm glad I had changed the colors because these work so much better, but then I had the issue of what brush to use, and I wanted to give the wings that butterfly shiny look, but it just didn't fit with the vibe I was going for, so I scrapped it. Overall, I think it looks really good in the end. Guess what? It's time for the facts about this dragon. I swear I'll make it entertaining for you. You don't have to click off the video. So first, let's start with the first ability, camouflage. This dragon can camouflage into its surroundings as long as it's green. Super specific, I know. So ultimately, this means if the dragon was stranded or in biomes like snowy areas or deserts, this dragon would likely perish mainly from predators since they won't be able to blend in with their surroundings. Next ability is ultraviolet light. The first thing with UV light and the dragon is that the dragons actually communicate in this way by patterns from each other that are left on flowers and plants that only they can see. So for example, Dragon 1 comes and leaves a pattern on this flower, then leaves. Dragon 2 shows up and sees that pattern. It then leaves its own pattern for Dragon 1 to find. Now, the second thing that involves UV light, this one is going to need a bit more explaining. To summarize it, in the day, there are sun tracking cells in the dragon's spines and eyes, but there's also polarized light from the moon and stars. Now you're wondering, what the heck are sun tracking cells and polarized light? Well, to be frank, I have no idea. But don't fret, I did some research so you don't have to. Now, this ability resides with butterflies, like in real life, so you'll learn a cool fact today about butterflies and soon moths. But sun tracking is basically a daytimer, meaning the butterfly can track time using its antenna to keep up with where the sun's position is at all times, like a compass. This usually helps with staying on a programmed migratory path. There are 3 parts to how this works. First, the eyes. The eyes contain a special type of cell that can detect different parts of the sky, like direct sunlight and polarized sunlight. For the direct sunlight, the butterfly uses the standard photoreceptor cells to keep track of the sun's position, which I talked about previously. The polarized light part gets a bit more confusing. There's a special area on the top of the eye. It's called the dorsal rim area. This area is particularly sensitive to ultraviolet, or also known as UV, polarized light. The polarized light forms a predictable pattern in the sky that is relative to the sun's position. The butterfly can use this sense as long as there's a patch of visible blue sky, so cloudy days may or may not be a problem for them. The second part of how this works is the antenna. The antenna is where the internal clock works. Instead of the brain, like a human being, because of the time-telling antenna's light sensitivity cells, the internal clock can constantly adjust for the sun's predictable movement across the sky. This ensures the butterfly maintains a steady direction rather than simply flying towards the sun. Without this mechanism, the butterfly would just fly in circles. That sounds quite boring. The final part for this to work is the brain itself. There are signals that go from the eyes and the antennas that travel through neurons, which are then integrated, or in other words, is brought together in a part of the butterfly's brain called the central complex. The central complex functions as the main compass, combining the social information with the information from the antenna. This means the butterfly is able to continuously calculate the signals from the two other parts, which is then sent to the motor system, or the wings, to fly in the correct direction. I found out that this same description applies to moths as well, and instead of using the sun, they use the moon and the stars as a source for their compass. Pretty cool! But I applied these concepts to the dragon through the spines instead of the antennas, while everything else stayed the same. That was a lot of information. Feel free to take a quick break by pausing the video and do your business. But if you're ready to keep going with the next ability, then buckle up because that's what we're about to do. Our next ability on the list is Advanced Sense of Smell. This ability is quite self-explanatory, but basically, the sense of smell is heightened to help find food as well as mates. Moths and butterflies actually get nutrients from flower nectar, rotting fruit, and animal leftovers. But in the dragon's case, animal carcasses. That was a short explanation, and the next few will be as well. But the next ability is Acoustic Signals. To sum it up, moths send out different signals to sense their surroundings for mating and as a defense mechanism. For example, a moth can produce chirps or clicks to either warn predators that they are unedible and undesirable, interfere with bat sonar to evade capture, or as communication for courtship or mates. So the dragon also has this ability, but instead of warding off bats, it's against its own predators. An extra fun little fact about this ability is that it allows the moth to sense the stress of plants, which affects where the moth lays its eggs. The second to last ability is Temperature. Basically, a butterfly will vibrate their wings to generate heat so it can stay active in cooler temperatures and to stay warm. So this also applies to the dragon as well. The last ability for now is actually a second defense mechanism, Spots. The spots on the wings are there to confuse or scare its predators and to stay safe, hidden, and protected. You can see in the finished result that the dragon has this feature. Wow, you're still here? I'm impressed. But unfortunately, this is all I have for the video, and I won't lie, I did not expect it to be this long, so apologies for that. But thank you for sticking around, and I hope to see you next time. And I wanted to give up the wing, Now, you're wondering, what the heck are sun tracking cells and polarized light? Now, you're wondering, what the heck are sun tracking cells and polarized light? Okay. Now you're wondering, what the heck is what the heck? What the heck? This usually helps with staying on a programmed migratory path. This usually helps staying on a migratory path. Nope, just kidding. This uses this for the direction. What? Hold on. For the direct sunlight, the butterfly uses the standard photoreceptor. Jeez. Because of the time-telling antenna's light sensitivity, hello? I found out that this same description applies to the moths as well, and instead of using the sun, they use the moon and the stars as a source for their compass. For their compass. Nope, we're doing that again. For example, a moth can produce chirps or clicks to either warn predators that they are unedible and undesirable. They can interfere. That's one sentence. Hold on. For example, a moth can produce chirps or clicks to either warn predators that they are unedible and undesirable. You can see it in the finished result that the dragon has. An extra fun little fact about this ability is that it allows An extra fun little fact about this ability is that it allows the moth to sense the trees. An extra fun little fact about this ability is that it allows Jeez. It took so long.